Hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today we have the pleasure of watching ALEKLOZANOV playing in their Tier 10 Czechoslovakian heavy tank. It is the VZ55. Now, I love this time of year, not because it's absolutely horrible outside, but that means there's even more reason to stay inside and become a filthy full-time YouTuber and put out videos every single day, as I will be doing for the rest of the year. So if you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe for daily videos for the rest of 2022. But one of the things that's also nice about spending more time indoors and making more YouTube videos is I have more time to be able to go and take a look at the incredible games that you, the epic World of Tanks community, have been able to have all the way through the year. Games that maybe slipped through under well, away from my watchful eye. How have you managed to have so many epic games this year? It's almost as if there are millions and millions of you playing millions and millions of games all the way through the year, and there's no way that one British idiot like me could possibly be able to catch them. But today, ALEKLOZANOV is going to show you why the VZ55 has been one of the tanks of the year, and that is this. Yeah, that's right, a 130mm autoloader with 2 rounds in the magazine that it can deliver within 2 seconds of the first shot, meaning 980 damage delivered very quickly into whatever is unfortunate enough to be in front of the Tier 10 Czech heavy tank. When you combine that also with extra module damage, maybe you're ammo wrecking or maybe you're setting a vehicle on fire like the E50 there, and ALEKLOZANOV is already up to 1,600 damage within the first couple of minutes of this game, and easily able to deal with the Lorraine. This vehicle has been arguably the best heavy tank in the game over 2022. And now that the Kranvang has been nerfed, but the VZ55 has been completely untouched, I'd say that the Kranvang is not even competing for this vehicle's crown, and I think the Czech tank has truly taken it. It's just this amazing combination of 8 degrees of gun depression, not quite the best, but also not quite the worst. Great armor, a weak point on top of the tank, but such a small weak point that when you're using your gun depression, there's not really too much the enemies are going to be able to do about it. And just this good hull as well. The hull is way better than the Kranvang, and it also is very troll along the side. Do you see how it kind of angles in? Well, you won't be able to see, but I'll just have to tell you. It's basically angled in a lot towards the upper part, which means that, or the lower parts, which means that you can never take chances of trying to shoot at the tracks of this thing. If you shoot the lower part of the track, the angled hull, which goes in like that, is also going to be able to ricochet shells. So it's outrageous, really, that is this all-round holistic damage-dealing tank. But just because it's the all-round damage-dealing tank doesn't mean that ALEKLOZANOV is not going to also play this game carefully and doesn't want to get overwhelmed by what looks like about 8 tanks on the enemy team busting through. So instead, why not actually just get rid of one of them and hopefully be able to kite away from this E100, but oh no, 800 hit points taken away. That is a third of the hit points of the VZ55, but already you're managing to thin out some of the tanks. It's still, even though that ALEKLOZANOV has managed to pick up 3 kills with 3,000 damage, but 3 out of the 4 tanks that's actually been vanquished by their team, the game is still razor close now. And ALEKLOZANOV is doing what I do not do enough, and that is realizing of your impending demise and actually falling back to be able to then set up a line of fire. It's the sensible thing to do in World of Tanks. It's the disciplined thing to do in World of Tanks, and it requires not just knowledge of what you are shooting, but also knowledge of what is going to be coming and getting you after you have managed to take out, hopefully, that vehicle that was in front of you. And ALEKLOZANOV is now setting up a new line of fire, realizing that if they stayed up towards the north, they would probably be caught out, and instead doubling back and trying to get not only a new line of fire, but also their team into the mix. And wow, I didn't realize those bushes were that thick, able to hide a Tier 10 heavy tank at about 100 meters. I got a funny feeling that Tiger 2 isn't taking coated optics, or maybe even has the best crew. And they're not even painting their Tiger 2. What are you doing? Styles are given out like hotcakes now. At least get one of them on that glorious Tier 8 German heavy tank. That was my first Tier 8 back in the day, and you're not doing it justice there. What is that? Shineki on the enemy team. Probably an anonymized name. If not, that's right, you got called out. The Tiger 2 deserves justice. At least paint it, alright? At least paint it. Anyway, ALEKLOZANOV now manages to put a round in against a very weak German medium tank on the enemy team in the form of the E50. And still their team is down by 2 over 2,000 hit points and a couple of kills. ALEKLOZANOV now has 5 out of their team's 6 kills. And there are still 7 vehicles, make that 8 vehicles, make that 9 vehicles left on the enemy team to have to deal with, although it doesn't look like there's going to be 9 for very long, as a VK4502A gets shut down. And ALEKLOZANOV is showing as well, reloading immediately after the shot, just how awesome it is to have a small mag sometimes. You know, big burst and also a small mag means a short reload. And this vehicle's maximum reload time will be 22 seconds. And so that just makes it able to do this. Finish off the 120, put another round into the STB-1. Unfortunately, low roll there. Bounce the STB-1. It looks like the STB-1 is backing off. Not from the reloading Czechoslovakian Heavy, but probably from the 772 that seems to be making their way around the corner. And that gives ALEKLOZANOV that respite to be able to get another round in quickly and deal with the STB-1 with a clutch shot to the bank. If you're wondering what setup ALEKLOZANOV is using, as they're going to be going for this E100 down below them here, they're using vents, a turbo, and vertical stabilizers. A man after my own heart. That's my preferred way to be able to play this vehicle as well, although only when you need the turbo. I have a second setup as well where I drop the turbo and I use a durability device instead for when you have those kind of real close quarter combat situations where the 10% hit points can make the difference. Wow, great shots there with more gold rounds being fired. The only ammunition that ALEKLOZANOV has taken in this battle down into what was my first tier 10 heavy, the E100. So ALEKLOZANOV has already picked up a Radley Walters medal in this game. And Tricky Trees on their team in the self-propelled gun is the only other player who's managed to pick up a kill. However, again, there are still 6 enemies left on the team. Does that mean that ALEKLOZANOV has a chance to be able to get the one that nobody gets, the Rezene Heroes medal? Well, they're going to have to avoid this T-30, and lucky they do. Shot on the move there. Bish bash bosh, or maybe just bish bosh in this case. This is only 2 shells delivered. The T-30 is vanquished. What a huge carry so far. Narrowly avoiding a direct hit from there from the artillery. ALEKLOZANOV is up to 8,000 damage and 9 kills within the first half of this battle. But with half of the game remaining and still 4,000 hit points left on the enemy team, just how much higher can they manage to push this? Will they hit 10k? Will they manage to get the rarest medal in World of Tanks? Well, we're going to find out whether that's the case. Oh, not with RNG like that. ALEKLOZANOV misses 1, misses 2, and oh dear, complete disaster strikes. As the E100 on the enemy team is now focused on the Object 7772 on their team that managed to help them against the STB-1, fending them off, allowing ALEKLOZANOV to be able to reload earlier on against the Japanese medium tank. Now the 7772 locked in mortal combat with the E100, manages to actually get shut down by the artillery on the enemy team, and now ALEKLOZANOV is staying away from that ridge, and quite rightly so. They don't want to get caught by that E50 and spotted by the E50, and the focus has to be to shut down the remaining tier 10 heavy on the enemy team, who has that big 750 alpha. Getting hit for 750 is not what you want to do in any tank, and it's not going to be happening anymore as the 10th kill is secured. That is a Pools medal now for ALEKLOZANOV, but their job is not done. I'll tell you what, I mean, my back is hurting just watching this game here. I'm surprised you... how many trips to the chiropractor do you have after this, ALEKLOZANOV? You have literally put the entire team on your back in this scenario. Sure, they've managed to do some damage, but ALEKLOZANOV has been the one finishing off all the tanks, and sometimes it's the player who can secure the kills and get the guns out the game that makes the difference. Fully aiming the shell here. E50 not quite reacting to the situation well. Looks like they might have actually had a damaged turret in that scenario, and a quick double burst there, and the German medium tank is shut down in the cap circle, maybe even securing ALEKLOZANOV a possible defender's medal. We'll see. ALEKLOZANOV says in the chat, "Can let me 14, :D." Well, you know what, ALEKLOZANOV, I really hope you get 14 in this game. You kind of deserve it, but you know what? Don't get ahead of yourself, son. There's 2 French autoloaders and a very dangerous American self-propelled gun still on the enemy team, and all it will take is 1 fire, as you're not using a fire extinguisher, and this will be a very different game indeed. And while the Czech vehicles are fairly resilient, they aren't the most resilient vehicles you're going to play with regards to ammo rack durability. Alright, big moment here. Will it hit? ALEKLOZANOV actually decides to let RNG, or shall I say, let the robot decide their fate, as they auto-aim the shell at the batch at 25 TAP. But in that kind of a situation, yeah, you know what, maybe you don't want it to be your bad aim or a missed shot that would be able to take away 14 in that scenario, right? And you could always blame the auto-aim there if that was the case, but would that be even worse, you know, knowing that you auto-aimed at a moment where possibly you had an opportunity to get the rarest medal in the game, which is usually only achieved at low tiers, but not at low tiers, at tier 10 for goodness sake. ALEKLOZANOV has already equaled my highest kills I've ever achieved in World of Tanks, which was 12 in the E75. If you want to see the video of that, it's still on this channel, or you can go and watch a highlight quickfire of it, of my 10 years of World of Tanks highlight that I released back in May. Awesome edit there from Tanya. But ALEKLOZANOV now only has 2 vehicles between them and World of Tanks immortality. The artillery facing the wrong way. Not a low roll in sight for ALEKLOZANOV now, but are they going to hold the shell or are they going to reload? Definitely reload in this situation. Holding a shell against a tank that has 900 hit points would definitely not be super sensible, especially considering it's an auto-loader and it will be able to take you out. So the artillery, Tricky Trees, the only player with a kill on ALEKLOZANOV's team, says he will try to stun them. Fails, however, and 1 shell missed. All right, ALEKLOZANOV, take it down, buddy. Oh, no, don't risk it. Don't rush it. Oh my god, down to 370. Auto-aim again at the end. OMG. GG, says ALEKLOZANOV, but oh my lord, you played so good this entire game, right up and until the end, buddy. Were you just trying to make this exciting for everyone who is evidently going to watch this on What Replays and on YouTube? You had me incredibly worried that there was going to be a disgusting amount of drama in this game, but nevertheless, ALEKLOZANOV secures the Rezene Heroes medal. And what was beautiful about this game, it was actually ALEKLOZANOV's 3rd mark of excellence in the VZ55, which is a tremendous task because this is a very competitive tier 10 heavy tank. So there it is, the Rezene Heroes medal, a medal which not a lot of people probably realize actually exists in the game. And it's only possible for destroying at least 14 vehicles on the enemy team. In addition to the over 10,000 damage dealt, that nets ALEKLOZANOV a high caliber. And it goes without saying this was an ace tanker of ace tankers with 1,847 base experience. And what more is there really to say? This truly showcased why the VZ55 is so dominant. It's just this 980 damage quick burst. If you miss a shell as well, you still have that backup shot to account for RNG, and that quick reload and relatively decent speed, especially with the turbo that ALEKLOZANOV was using here, allows you the mobility to be able to dictate the combat and also the firepower, while also still having some armor against your opponents. This really is the all-purpose machine, and the only thing that holds it back is that its damage per minute overall is not quite what a lot of heavy tanks are. And so while it's great when you manage to keep delivering those 1-2 punches to your opponents, if that's not quite enough to deliver the knockout and you can't get away, this thing does get picked apart quite quickly by voracious mediums or heavies that manage to eventually lock down your tracks. But still, there's a reason why this tank has been packing such an incredible win ratio all the way through 2022 and gets a firm recommendation from me for anyone who wants a very strong tank that is definitely in the meta, mostly for the random queue. So, ALEKLOZANOV, congratulations to you on this absolute gargantuan game of World of Tanks in 2022. It's definitely one of the games of the year, and I'd like to say a massive thank you to you for uploading it to the What Replays website for the community to enjoy, and I hope you enjoyed my terrible commentary. If all of you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down, and let me know what you think about the VZ55 and what did you think about ALEKLOZANOV's impressive performance here. And have you ever seen a Rezene Heroes medal? And have you managed to get one in World of Tanks? And if you have, what tank was it in? And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.